Hey everyone, welcome back. It is good to be back. I have to be honest with you guys. Being sick the last couple of days since basically Thursday of last week was no joyride or fun picnic or anything, whatever you want to call it. But I am back. Things definitely turned out for me yesterday when I went to the doctor and they actually gave me like a full spectrum antibiotics thing. So whatever it was a bacterial, whatever it was. I'm guessing it was like an infection, but man, I'm feeling much better. It started out with like influenza type A, turned into a sinus infection or something like that. But I am feeling much better and it's good to be back. But surprisingly, not much has happened here. I mean, Bitcoin's pretty much where it was last time I talked to you guys on Thursday. But Cleanspark's actually worse than where it was on Thursday, surprisingly, after a really good earnings release. Not much to talk about other than BitDigital, a little news. I have one good news story for you guys right now. Not much else. Then we'll get into the Bitcoin miners as far as sats per shares. We'll look at also the, what was the other one? Enterprise metrics on the miners. And we'll talk about when will the miners actually run with Bitcoin. We'll talk about that here in a second. But it's good to be back. Missed you all. Hope you guys had a great weekend and everything else. But it's good to be back. So let's get into the swing of things here. I might be a little rusty. It's been a while. But as always, not financial advice. Front end only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin here and see what the heck is going on with it along with the miners today. Miners didn't do too well today. So Bitcoin was down today a little bit. It was down 1.71%. The miners did worse than that. For the most part, they were at least 2, 3, even some over like 4x worse than that today. So it wasn't a great day. MicroStrategy was even down like almost 3x on top of it today. So it wasn't a good day. We were up on it yesterday on Monday. Right? Bitcoin was up a little bit, 1%, but we finished out today. We were a low of 94,131. We closed at 95,774. And I mean, look at this. This is just a strange setup that I'm seeing here, at least in the last, I would say, 7 days or so. I mean, look at Bitcoin. I mean, it goes up and came back down to the same spot. Goes up, came back down to the same spot. It's just like, this is odd. I haven't seen this, I don't think, really ever, where it's just been trading flat for 4 days in a row. I can see that on the weekend for 2 days. Okay, fine. But 4 days before that as well. It's just a strange setup here. So I drew some lines here as well on Bitcoin as far as what's going on, or what at least could possibly happen here. We do have a triangle or a wedge, whatever you want to call it here. From the lows, right, to the lows to the new higher lows a little bit. And where do those lines intersect? Well, if we look at those lines, we're looking if we trade within this wedge here for that period of time, we may not bounce out of it until maybe like Monday, the 10th of March, if that's the case, which is definitely 30 days away, roughly 30 days away. If we look at the other lows, which are, the lows that we had here, which I think were just like black swan events or one-off events, on this one and this one, we take those out. We look at the actual lows from here. This was from January 9th here, and use the other lows recently here. Then we might, Monday the 3rd of March is when we might get out of this wedge here, potentially, unless we break below it here. And then if we do break below it, where do we go from there? I've said it before, if we do go down, we're going down to like maybe 78,000, 75,000 mark, which would be a 30% correction, which we have seen in the past with Bitcoin. So what the heck is going on here with Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners? When will we pump? It's really now up to the big guys. This cycle is up to the big guys right now, more than anything. Retail, I don't think, is really pumping it anymore. At least they try to pump it, but they keep getting beaten down on it. So they're becoming, it seems like, exhausted almost. We have less and less coins on exchanges. Price is still stagnant. So it's just a lot of manipulation happening here. So whenever the big guys do want us to run, they will let it run. But in the meantime, they're going to accumulate as much as they can, possibly try to front run the states, the U.S. government, other nation states, other countries from getting Bitcoin as well. They're going to try to get it at a much lower cost as possible. And they're keeping it artificially low in the meantime. And, we're feeling the brunt of it right now. So when is it going to happen? It's going to happen. I just don't know exactly when it's going to happen. But we will pump, and we are going to have probably a pretty nice pump here because we have been in this kind of accumulation phase here ever since we topped out with Bitcoin at, first here back in December where we topped out at 108,388, right? And then recently here with the last, this was back on Monday, the 20th of January, we got to 109,358, right? So this has been just an accumulation phase right here from that point on, which if we look at it on time scale, it is from here to there, or to now, It is right now, what is that, 57 days of sideways action, basically, that we've been accumulating right now. Eventually, that will subside. We saw this also accumulation happening here, right? You saw that once Bitcoin got to 73,000, and then we accumulated for quite a long time. We did have a dip here to 30% from the top, but it took a while for it to do that. And then we had a nice run up here when they were ready to let it run, right? And that was coincided with the Trump election, right? Him winning that was a nice pump there. Now it's just a matter of fact, when do they let it run again? I think in short order, it should happen. Short order could be a month or two, actually. But we will run because it is just ridiculous the way that this is being manipulated right now to an nth degree, unfortunately. The miners, like I said, didn't do that great today, right? They've been kind of all over the place. Your MicroStrategy didn't do well either. Today was down 4.53%. It had a pretty good day. Yesterday it was up a little bit, but it's down today. Bitfarms was down also today and yesterday. I think it's $1.31 right now. BitDeer was down 10% today. It had a okay day yesterday, but it's down today at 1566. Then we had Cypher down as well, 4.36%. Cleanspark, Cleanspark, I would have thought that this thing would have run on, especially on Friday, and it did. It ran up quite nicely here. It was up from the start of Thursday to the top on Friday. It was like 18%, and then it just gave up a majority of those gains. So who the heck was selling those? Was it retail? Possibly. Was it institutions, the shorts, trying to, cover their butts a little bit also? Possibly. It's just, you can't explain it other than manipulation. So we are at their mercy right now. And then it was down on Friday or on Monday. It was down today again, even having a huge beat here on EPS and everything else. And the stock still didn't do anything. So we are being manipulated to an nth degree here, which is frustrating as all it can be. CORZ was down as well today, 4.37% to 1226. Hive was down 3.89, right? It seems like everything is being held back. And I think it's because Bitcoin's not running up as well. HUT8 was down 3.48%. IREN was down 3.42%. Now, IREN reports tomorrow their earnings. We'll see where they come in at, but they've had a pretty nice run up here. Recently, at least, they're getting back to where they were here prior to that news on DeepSeek, right? They're back to where they were. So they've come back up a little bit. Mara was down 4.4. Mara has been coming down as well. It doesn't make any sense there either. They're making a heck of a lot more money as it is right now. Riot was down 4.21%, and then Wolf was down 7.21% as well. So it's not looking pretty out there for the miners. Excuse me. A lot of people are getting concerned. They've been getting concerned for quite a while as well, and I don't blame them. Right? Especially, well, we'll see. I'm still long-term positive on these things. Going to be doing well going forward, but yes, this being held down and the manipulation that I'm seeing here is just outstanding, and not in a good way too. It's in a frustrating way, for sure. Then the smaller miners were down. Digihost continues to be like the only one that is outperforming here. Some of these guys, even the bigger miners. Digihost was up 8.22%. Digihost is based on the news that came out here that they're working with a small modular reactor company to do a project site, I believe. And I think that's why the stock is still doing pretty good here. ETFs were down today as well. What else do we have here? Boy, CAN was down 7.89%. IWM was down 0.58%. Kang was down 7%. Applied was down 6.41%. Tesla was down 6.34%. Galaxy was down. Things were down today. Except for the Dow Jones was up a little bit and the S&P was down, or up a little bit today. So we will have to wait and see when the big guys let us run. We're at their mercy, like I said, unfortunately. We don't have the power. They got billions and billions of dollars to do as they will, and we just have to go for the ride, unfortunately. Because if it was retail run, retail would be pumping this stuff up already like crazy, I think. So it's not retail controlling it. It's definitely the big guys with the billions and trillions of dollars in their pockets. So that's what we have there. Looking at the network hash rate here really quick as well, that's going up. So that's not going to bode well for the miners. That means that they are going to get another difficulty increase, which means they're going to be generating a little bit less here going forward. We are now on the 30-day average, 798 exahash as it is. Bitcoin for the month of February is down 6.2%. We still have a little bit of time to go before February ends. So we'll see if it's going to be a green one like historically it has been majority of the time. or if we're going to actually have our first red month in what, 5 years, 4 years, 4 years. Yeah, I mean, it seems like we have 5 years. Yeah, we should have a green month, but we'll see. Okay. Only good news that I have here for you guys today is on this from Dennis Porter. Breaking a bill to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve has just passed out of committee in Oklahoma, so there's another step forward in that happening there. But not much else happening there. And then the good news here for Bit Digital, they got another multi-year co-location agreement with a leader in AI hardware. So congrats to the Bit Digital team. This came out today or yesterday? Yesterday. Sorry, I missed it yesterday because I was sick. Didn't have the energy to do a stream, so we're talking about it today. But Bit Digital announced today that it has secured a co-location contract with a leading AI hardware innovator. They didn't provide who that innovator is. Maybe they will in time. Under the agreement, the company will provide the client with 5 megawatts IT load of build-to-suit data center infrastructure for a period of 5 years. The contract will be fulfilled at a data center within Innovum's proprietary development pipeline, with the location to be announced at a later date. The company anticipates the contract will formally commence in mid-2025. And I think this gets them on their path to getting $100 million in revenue from HPCI business as well. So congrats to the guys there. They keep, excuse me, they keep executing on these smaller contracts, and they're doing really well at it. So congrats there. All right, that's all I got for the news side of things here. Let's take a look at really quick the sats per miners here. So sat stats on the miners. This is updated as of January results. 2 miners have still not reported. BitDeer and TeraWolf, I don't think they're going to report. I mean, we're already 11 days into February. I'll give them until, probably until the 14th or something like that to see if they report. I mean, they should have reported already. Not sure what the holdup is, or if they're not going to report anymore going forward. Maybe they're just like, we're done. I don't know. We'll find out. So they're excluded from this. That's why they got zeros down here. But sats mined per share. You can see that IREN for the month of January here came out the best. They got 263 sats per share. Now that will get updated once we start getting some of the miners as well updated with their latest number of shares outstanding. Right, so I'm sure there's going to be an increase in IREN a little bit there. We'll see where that comes in for them. And then followed by Marathon here at 226. Cleanspark just close to that, 223. Then we got Riot 159, Core at 92, Hive at 79, Cypher 56, Hut at 54, and Bitfarms at 45. At that point, the reason I like to look at this is because when you invest in a company, you want, this will usually lead to, more revenue per share, basically, right? As long as they keep their costs and everything else under control, for the most part, right? And then when we look at the HODL stats per share, Marathon's still top king here at 14,187 stats per share. So if you own one of those, that's how many stats you have in a share. And then Hut 8 is at 10,908, followed by Riot at 5,483, followed by Cleanspark 3,759, and the Hive 2,059, and everybody else below that. And then so far, the BTC per exahash efficiency for the month here, Hive came in best operational-wise, 16.89 BTC per exahash, followed by IREN at 16.8, then Cypher at 16.22, then Riot 15.71, Cleanspark at 15.61, then Core, Marathon, Bitfarms, and Hut 8 down at the bottom here on it. So definitely interesting to take a look at that as well. And excuse me, I got to cough here really quick. Sorry, I didn't mute both speakers, did I? So you guys still heard it in one ear probably. Sorry. And now, okay, next here, enterprise metrics, really quick. This is also updated as of today in the latest data that we do have on these miners. Some of them have not provided their January updates, so that some information is missing there. But we look at current hash rate, right? What is the current hash rate of the miners? What's their enterprise value based on what we've known it to be right now, at least? And this is the way things stack up. Hive, by all accounts, looks like it's the most undervalued here with 24 million per exahash, followed by Bitfarms at 34. And then you got Marathon 61, Cleanspark at 65 million, Riot 71, IREN at 81 million. And then you got BitDeer like 265 million, Hut at 253 million. TeraWolf 216, right? Some of these guys are getting overvalued for exahash, but they're probably getting valued on HPCI potential more so than anything else there. Then when you look at the future hash rate, you can see that still Hive is the most undervalued at 13 million, followed by Bitfarms at 29 million, IREN at 44, Cleanspark at 46, Marathon at 60, Riot at 69 million, right? And then you got some of these guys here like TeraWolf at 248 million, BitDeer 203, Core 167 million. Core I can understand because they have a big customer there, Core Weave, going to start generating revenue there in about 4 months or so. So I can see that being kind of fairly valued there more or less, but some of these guys definitely way undervalued from where they really should be currently based on enterprise value. And then when we look at enterprise per BTC mined here, we can see that Hut 8 is getting basically 19.65 million for the 65 BTC that they mined per BTC, right? Whereas Core is getting 13.38, right? Pretty high up there as well. Cypher 8.93, Riot only 4.5 million, Cleanspark 4.1 million, right? Having mined 626 Bitcoin. IREN 4.8 million here, 521 Bitcoin mined. Marathon 4.3, having mined 750 Bitcoin. Bitfarms 2.6, 201, right? And Hive 1.41, 102 BTC mined there in the month of January. And then here is their actual enterprise value here. Core is getting the best enterprise value right now, 3.4 billion, followed by Marathon 3.2. Then you got Cleanspark at 2.5, IREN at 2.5 as well. Just below Cleanspark, Riot at 2.3, BitDeer 2.2, Cypher 1.9, Terra 1.8 billion, Hut 1.2, Bitfarms 523 million, and Hive 143 million. I think Hive actually has more in HODL value than their enterprise values right now. If we take a look at that, let's see your Hive. What is their HODL value? Their HODL, yeah, 254 million is their HODL value. So doesn't really make much sense on some of these things, does it? And same thing for others. There's just a bunch of these guys that are undervalued right now. They're being kept down. When is that going to end? I wish I knew. I really, really wish I knew. I need to befriend somebody at one of these huge hedge funds and money makers to really understand what's going on in their heads. But yeah, it's just crazy. All right, that's all I got for you guys. Okay. Hopefully we'll have more stories and good things to talk about tomorrow than what's happening right now, because it is not good. But let's get into the Q&A side of things here. We'll then wrap it up. See if you guys have any questions or anything like that. And let me take a sip of my, well, it's no longer hot tea. It's lukewarm tea. All right, bear with me while I go through all the Q&As. Questions, I'm going to scroll my way up. Also, if you could press the question with a question mark, I'll work my way down as always, and we'll get through this. All right. What do we got here? Okay. All right. What happened to the idea that when miners reported earnings this month, they would turn around? Yeah. I mean, that's definitely was the thought process, right? Especially having good EPS and good earnings and everything else. Yeah. Where is that? Is it subdued? I mean, Cleanspark had a little bit of a run. It was up 18% on Thursday last week, and then it just gave it all back. So something's suppressing it. Why? I don't know why. Maybe they want to buy more of it. I think it was BlackRock, recently bought an additional 2 million shares of Cleanspark as well. So, I mean, they're still accumulating, right? So they're buying it. So it's like they're keeping it down to buy more in order, I don't know, to let it eventually let it run up, I would think. Excuse me. Let's see. What is happening tomorrow? Is it ever going to go back up? It will go back up, just like the other guys will go up as well when Bitcoin starts going back up. Let's see here. Hey, Sebastian, thanks for streaming. Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming in as always. Let's see here. Sebastian, if CPI is good, BTC will rally. Well, you would think, right? If the CPI data is good, then it might rally. Okay, let's see. Question, Cleanspark pumped 25% on earnings and sold off rest of the day. Then the last 2 days have been even more short pressure. This will not end until BTC goes to 110. Do you agree? Based on what I'm seeing with what happened with Cleanspark, that might be the case. I mean, there's absolutely no reason. I mean, them having really good earnings release and the stock does what it does. It's just nuts. So we are definitely being manipulated. Capri says this level of manipulation should be illegal. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Can Mara possibly trade below a 1 NAV premium for the Bitcoin that they have? I think it might be possible. Yeah, I'm not saying it's out of the question. Gary says, thank God for the FSB pump. Cleanspark would be doing turbo without the HODL. Don't even get me going on that right now. I mean, the FSB helped the stock get a much better EPS, everything else. But yeah, I mean, it's being held down just like everything else is. It's just ridiculous. Let's see. All right. Question, remember when I asked you how thick your tinfoil hat was? Do you still think there's no conspiracy for the miners to all go bankrupt? I don't think they're going to go bankrupt. I mean, they're publicly traded companies, right? In order for them to go bankrupt, I think Bitcoin has to go to zero. That's the only way that they're going to go bankrupt, unless they do foolish things like they did last cycle. Some of them at least did, where they used Bitcoin as collateral, took out loans on it. Bitcoin went down, right? So that's the only way you're going to get in trouble there. Let's see. Hello, Seb. Can the miners do something to at least stop a little these shorts from institutions? Thanks. Excuse me. The only thing I can think they can do is maybe try buying the shares back. What if the companies come out and say, every month that we mine, we're going to take 10 Bitcoins worth and buy shares back, or something like that. 20 Bitcoins worth of buy shares back that way. Maybe that would be something. I don't know. I don't know if they would do that, but that would be something. They could possibly do that. See, it's almost like the market is looking beyond the FSB and actually expecting companies mine profitable before they stop shorting them. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That's a good point there. But the FSB goes to the bottom line, doesn't it? I mean, it raises their values in what they have, so I would still think that would apply. Because, you saw it pump up, but something is holding it down. And we're being manipulated. That's the only thing I can think of. Let's see. Hi, Seb. Question, what will happen to BitDigital after this update? Well, the update that I talked about is a nice update. It's, 5 megawatts. I'm not sure how much they're going to give for it, but it's a multi-year contract, which is nice, but it's still a nice addition, I would say that. It's nothing earth-shattering or anything like that, but it's a nice addition. John says, IREN reports earnings tomorrow. Yes, we will talk about it tomorrow. Let's see, JK says, we will not pump is the answer. I hope you're wrong on that one. I know a lot of people are, betting on the miners will still pump. Let's see, Hive's share count is surprisingly low for the price. How undervalued do you think they are? Extremely undervalued right now. And maybe in time when they do finally move over their headquarters to the United States, grow their hash rates like they're saying they're going to grow to 25 exahash by the end of the third quarter. Those should be all good catalysts for them going forward here. We'll see what they actually come in as for Q4 results. Let's see. Hi, Seb. Didn't Cleanspark come up with a secret plan involving convertible notes to destroy short sellers? If so, it not work? Is it not working? It is not working. Doesn't seem like it. Yeah, we saw some of the miners that did the convertible notes actually do pretty well because of it, right? But yeah, it's not working out that way, is it? Doesn't seem to, at least not right now. Let's see. Let's see. FSB is a one-time event that does not actually change anything. Miners need real earnings with expectations for ongoing earnings to get any sort of multiple. I don't think that's the case. And the FSB is not a one-time thing because you can do it every quarter, right? As long as Bitcoin is going up, you can use that. If Bitcoin's going down, then it's going to hurt them also on the way down. But a lot of these guys, if you just look at the cash expenses and things like that, they are profitable. And so when you include stock-based compensation and depreciation at that point, and we can possibly even look at it if that would maybe once all the miners maybe report, we'll maybe look at that. If we include those things and take those things out, how would they actually compare? So that might be something interesting to take a look at. All right. See, will I die poor and wretched this cycle? I still don't believe that's going to be the case. Yeah, but right now it looks like we might, but I don't think that's going to be the case. How the heck is manipulation illegal? you know, they're hedging their bets. So I don't think they're using naked shorts. I think naked shorts is would be illegal, where you don't actually have the shares to short. So that would be illegal, I think. Question: if a bear market begins and miners never pump, how do you plan to take money out of miners, or will you keep holding till next cycle? I'm in profit still on Cleanspark and IREN. Bitfarms, I'm probably break even right now on it still. So I'm okay. I could take profits, right? Even if we go down like 20% more on like IREN, I'll be in profits. I would need Cleanspark to go down probably like, well, I'm up like 100% on Cleanspark still, so I still have a ways to go. 50% down would have to go for me to be at break even at that point. So I still have a ways to go before I get in the red on some of these guys. So I would definitely sell if we get into a bear market, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Question: did you read the news today from Digihost? What was the news today? Let me see if we can pull that up really quick. Let's take a look at Digihost. What happened there? Miners, small miners, Digihost. Let's take a look at it. All right, let's go here. So Digihost to develop high-performance computing and AI tier data centers through a wholly owned subsidiary, U.S. data centers. What do we got here? With the launch of U.S. data centers, Digihost is creating a dedicated platform focused entirely on developing AI HPC solutions. Okay, the project is planned to be executed in 2 phases with a total aggregate planned capacity of 55 megawatts. The first phase is expected to result in 22 megawatts of HPC capacity with a target completion date during the second quarter. Okay, so you're out and requiring planned capital expenditures of approximately $176 million. Wow, that's a lot. The second phase will consist of additional 33 megawatts targeting completion due first quarter of 2027, requiring planned capital expenditures of approximately $264 million. Okay. That seems kind of low on it. Let's see, because typically when you talk about, I mean, are they looking at tier 3 data centers? What kind of data centers are we looking at? Because if we use just on average $10 million times 55 megawatts times 55, that's like $550 million just to build out that type of data center out. So, and they're talking about 176. I mean, that's really, really cheap to build out. Let's see, what else does it? Okay. Let's see. Will help us meet the demand with the tier 3 certified AI. Okay, they're saying tier 3. So if they're saying that they can build that out for 176 million at 55 megawatts, that's only what, like 3 million per megawatt to build out? Existing Columbia, Alabama into state-of-the-art 3. Transformation of the company's existing site in Columbia, Alabama into a state-of-the-art tier 3 designed. Okay. So they're retrofitting. Okay, so they have something there. They're just going to retrofit. Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense there. All right, so that's good news. But that's still a year out, and hopefully they have a customer there that's going to use it. So interesting. Okay. Let's see. Didn't you say before that miners would be in a bad situation if Bitcoin price didn't move up? Yeah, they would be in a bad situation. But we need Bitcoin to go up for them to do well for a lot of these guys, especially the ones that haven't reached scale yet. The ones that have reached scale, they're in maybe a little bit better position than some of the guys that haven't reached scale yet because they can cover a lot of those costs with the operations that they do have there. But yeah, if Bitcoin's reached top was 108,000, we're heading down. Yeah, that's definitely way off from where we thought we were going to be. It's definitely going to be as great as we thought it was going to be for the miners. Okay. Question, Seb, do you think a U.S. Bitcoin reserve will cause a temporary crash? I don't see why it would do that. I mean, I would think that would be a good thing. I don't think it would be a crash. Let's see. Welcome back, Seb. Thank you so much. Around having BTC price was around 66,000. Does it make sense that in order for the miners to make same revenue, BTC price should be 2x, so 66,000, around 130,000 because of mining rewards having part of it, yes. But the other part of it was that they were also growing. Some of these miners were actually growing in hash rate, right? So Cleanspark was around, I have to look back at it, but some of these guys were lower in hash rate. Let's see, where's it at? Let's take a look at it really quick here. We can see it. Let's start with just BitTier. I'll show you guys what I mean. Okay, so halving event happened in April, right? April, so they were at, let's see, BitTier was at 6.7 exahash at that point. They're only up a little bit here, right? They're generating less Bitcoin because of it, and you can see that as a result here in that. Network hash rate also grew, yes, okay. Next year's Bitfarms. Bitfarms was at 7 exahash, right? They doubled, so they should, in theory, be close to where they were, if not mining more, going forward, right? So April, they had 7 exahash. They mined 269. They got closer, 201, right? But the network hash rate continues to go up. They didn't grow fast enough with that. Cypher was in April at 7.7. They're at 13. Okay, right. Network hash rate has continued to go up, but their mining has come down here. Haven't reached where they were in April, 261. They got to 194, somewhat close to it, but not close enough. Cleanspark here was at April 17.3. They doubled, more than doubled actually on it. They got 626, actually 668 if you want to look at that in December. They were down a little bit in January because of the winter storms, and they were at 721, so they got pretty close to it. So they're basically generating the same amount there, plus Bitcoin went up, so they're actually generating more, right? Probably what we should be looking at is their monthly revenue here. April was 47 million for them, 62 million was here in January. Cypher was 17 in April, 19 million, right? So they're generating actually more here. Bitfarms was at 17, they got to 20, right? So they're generating more as well because of it. April here for BitTier was at 17 million, they're at 14.2, so they're actually less. Then you got CORZ Scientific here. They were at 20 exahash, they're actually down to 18 exahash as it is. Revenue was 52 million here for them. They're down to 25 million, right? Because they didn't grow their hash rate. Their hash rate actually decreased, so they're half of where they were prior to having. That's why you see that. But when you see growth, you get where you're doing better. Hive here was at 5 exahash basically. They were at 14 million in revenue. Now they're at 10, right? Not a lot of growth here, so they didn't double their hash rate. They're having a hard time getting to that point as well. Hut 8, I mean, they were at 5.5 exahash. 9.7, they're at 6.5 million revenue right now. They're only at 5 exahash, same thing. So yeah, they definitely got cut in half there a little bit. But the good thing that saved them a little bit there, like everybody else, is Bitcoin price going up. IREN here was at 9.4 exahash at the halving, and they're at 31, right? So 3x on growth. And then look at the revenue here. They were at 23 million. They're at 52 million right now, right? Growth plus Bitcoin going up in value, you're making a heck of a lot more. So they are making actually more than they did pre-halving. A lot of these guys are, at least. Same thing with like Marathon. Marathon was at 27 here pre-halving. They got to 53, almost a double there on it. Revenue was at 48 million here. January came in at 72, so they're making more revenue because of it as well. Riot was at 12 exahash. They got to 33, almost a triple there for them as well. They were at 24 million in revenue. They're at 52 million in revenues. They're making more. TeraWolf was at 8 exahash. They're at 9.7 here. They were at 17.7 million. Now they are at 15.5. So they're getting close to that as well. So yes, the halving did have an impact on them. That's the impact that we saw here right after the halving event. But if the miners were growing into it and beyond, a lot of them are actually making more money than they did before the halving event. And even if we had Bitcoin at the same price, they'd be pretty close to where they were before the halving event. But Bitcoin going up, we also had the network hash rate go up, which obviously you generate less Bitcoin, but you have the improvement in Bitcoin price that helps out. So I hope that kind of explains it. At least shows you how that has played out with the miners. They are generating more revenue. So, I mean, they should be better priced than what they are right now. Let's see. The FSB rules benefits all miners or only the ones with a big HODL? The ones that have a HODL position doesn't have to be a small HODL, just a HODL position. And then also has to be the ones that are based in the United States. Those are the ones that take advantage of it. Okay. My thought is unless BTC decisively leaves 100,000 behind, the miners will continue to languish. What do you think? They're languishing right now. They're trading sideways or going down. So I would agree with that. But we need Bitcoin to go up. Let's see, should BTC hit 120,000 and we see no movements in miners, would this be a throw in the towel moment? might be a little bit delayed. But yeah, if we see like 120, 130,000 and miners aren't doing nothing, yeah, I might be throwing the towel movement. But look at it that way. Let's see. Tom says, thanks, Seb. I don't think we'll see the price action we want until March. My bet is CPI data tomorrow will come in sticky, and we won't see that number come down until March. Well, I hope anyway. Well, that would kind of play along with the chart, right, that I had. Where's it at? Right here on Bitcoin. Let me pull this up. So I'm kind of drew this up today, right? Kind of this wedge that we're in right now, if we do get out of it, the earliest we might get out of it like early March 3rd, or at the latest, maybe like March 10th, maybe, depending where we trade in this wedge here, and depending when we break out of it. So you might be right there, which would then be not great, because then we'd have a red February for us. And we want a green February. I want a green February. Okay, let's see. With BTC at 176,000, how much Cleanspark can go? I mean, that's 76% from where it's at right now, roughly. For Bitcoin, I would say double, like 150% increase on Cleanspark. I think that would be on the lower end. Could go higher than that, but I would think somewhere around there would be like the at least minimum where it should go. The question of miners stop diluting, maybe we go up then. A lot of the miners have been doing the convertible notes, so the dilution is pushed out a number of years out, so they aren't really diluting, but some are still diluting, and you're right. Have you ever seen sentiment this low? No. But this is only the second cycle that I've been with the miners, so not much to go on there. Well, the sentiment has been lower when Bitcoin was going into the bear market. I can tell you it was rough then. Let's see. S. Romney says, at this rate, share buybacks might be better investment than CapEx investments. For some of these guys, possibly the ones that have reached scale, right? That might be a better way to go. Buy some shares back instead of applying more into it. Let's see. Okay. Martin C., good to have you back. Thank you. It's good to be back. Thinking about converting my Hive for Cleanspark or WGMI. That is absolutely up to you how you want to do that. You guys know how I feel. Hive is a great company. They have actually really good growth now going into this year. 25 exahash by the end of the third quarter. Moving to the United States, those are all good things. It's just a matter of will the stock be noticed for it. Same with Cleanspark. Cleanspark is doing all the right things, but the stock goes up, 18% and drops back down in a single day. It's just nuts. Let's see. Do you think Bitcoin miners went down because allegedly if Binance sold their Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana of their position, which they came out and denied they sold anything? Oh, I don't know. That's the first time I'm hearing about that one. Trying to find another question here. There it is. Question on Jason Pisano's podcast. He claims that BTC is pretty much done for the cycle. How reputable is this guy, and what point will people start taking money out of BTC? I don't know. First time I'm hearing about Jason, so I don't really know him. And I mean, if you look at like the stock to flow model, the power law model, and everything else, it's all pointing that we should be higher than where we are. We're at least the top of the market, right? So I don't think we're at the top of the market yet. Plus, with all the adoption we're seeing here, I don't think it's the top of the market yet. So I think there's more to go. Bear with me here. Let's see. All right. Hi, so considering the analysts are now coming out with the new price targets for Cleanspark between 25 and 30, shouldn't that mean miners are due for a positive move up soon? Of course, BTC will be a factor. Yeah. A lot of these guys have been getting price improvements in their price targets. And they're just undervalued from where they should be. So eventually they should run. Hi, Seb. Question, is there a 30% market correction? Is there a 30% market correction? Will BTC crash more than the market? Probably 40%. If the general market crashes 30%, then BTC might. go a little bit more than that. But typically, Bitcoin has like a 30% correction in a bull run. We've seen only right now like a 17% correction. We haven't gone down to the full 30% yet. And that's kind of one of the things where we might still, test before moving up much higher. Let's see here. Jose, just tuning in. Seb, hope you're feeling better. I am feeling better. Thank you so much. All right. Seb, the revenues are up, but costs are up. Which miners have reported actual profits? Some will, but they need to forecast profit also. BTC 95,000, not all miners are getting significant profits now. No, you're right. Yeah. The bigger miners should be, right. Cleanspark, IREN. IREN doesn't have a hot position, but their costs are really low. So they should, as long as they don't put a bunch of crap in there for the expenses, they should be profitable based on the current economics that they have there. Let's see, why is shorting miners so attractive? It seems counterintuitive. Yeah, it does seem counterintuitive. I have no idea. The only way I understand it is that they're going along something else and they're hedging their bets with the miners and doing it that way. Okay. Okay, here we go. Hi, Seb. Seems a lot of the questions about miner price of BTC was at certain price. If it's easy enough to take your model and plot miner price X, Y-axis and versus BTC price X-axis for 50 and 75%. Is that a question? I'm not sure if that's a question. Oh, it's easy enough to, yeah, I mean, you can plot it yourself, more or less. Let's see. Question, are you feeling nervous? I can tell your tone has changed drastically, especially now that your viewers continue to keep calling you out. No, I'm not nervous. I sound different because I've been sick the last 6 days. So that's maybe why I sound a little bit differently, but I'm not nervous. You guys know what you guys get from me. You get my opinion, what I think might happen. It doesn't happen, doesn't happen. It's not like I'm some kind of oracle or, things have to happen the way I think they happen. It's, we're all in this together. We're all trying to learn from each other as best we can. Nobody has a crystal ball or nobody knows where it's going. Let's see. I do not see anything wrong done with Cleanspark or pending bad news. Why is it so down? It's the market makers. They are controlling us. They're manipulating us. They're keeping it down. And that's the only thing I can think of. There's no real reason why it's not performing the way it should be. Okay, what will cause a miner run? Short covering or what? It would be short covering, right? Bitcoin going up as well would be another thing. Miners are different now with so many more shares. GME run was small number of shares and 100% short. Well, yeah, that was the other part of it. It was greater than 100%. It was negative shorting in there as well. So, but the miners are definitely shorted like 20 some plus %. So that's still high. See, what was the latest short numbers for IREN? IREN, the latest short data that I have for them is, let me see here. Oh, let me see if I can pull that up. This is as of probably middle of January, I think the numbers that I have here. I don't have the latest for the end of January. Let me pull that up. So IREN, shares shorted here. Let me see. Current number of shares shorted. IREN was at almost 16 million shares shorted. On it, it was about 8% share short, so not that much. You can see everybody else, how much they're being shorted there as well. All right, let's go back here. Let's see here. Hi, Sabar, are you selling IREN before earnings report? Thanks. No, I'm not. I'm not a, trader in and out of things. I still think we're going to have much better days ahead of us. We're going to have some painful days to come before that gets there, but I'm holding on, and if anything, I may actually buy more. Let's see. Miners should be okay if BTC does what people think this year. Where do you think Bitcoin goes this year? I still think we're going north of 180,000. 200,000, maybe 200, maybe plus than that. As long as we have the adoption happening, which we do have the adoption happening. So once we get the states possibly buying some Bitcoin into it, right, getting Bitcoin Strategic Reserve or SBR, Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, this country, you already have companies buying it, you got pension funds buying it, you got now universities buying it as well. That's just in the United States alone. What about the rest of the world? So it is going to have to run up, I believe. How much time I got left before I can stop shorting the miners? Well, I would be careful with that. If you are shorting the miners, you just never know when they're going to let those things run. So be careful with that. Let's see here. Tom from Talking Investing says that Cleanspark diluted 80% of the past year, but their hash rate grew over 300% during this. Is that correct? That sounds correct. Yeah, they definitely grew a lot. Their hash rate growth alone this year was tremendous. Let me see here. If we look at Cleanspark, let me pull that one up. Okay, screen. Here we go. So Cleanspark started out the year, right, January of last year, 2024, at 10x hash. They finished out the year at 40x. So that's a 40x, 400% growth basically, right? It was a 300% growth. Well, 400, 300%, whatever you want to call it. Huge growth there. And if they diluted the shares, let's see how much they dilute the shares from that period. I should have the numbers here. So Q1 2024, they had 198 million shares. They had 280 million shares now. So they actually dilute. Let's see here. What does that come out to be? So if we take 198 divided by 280, that is 70%. So yeah, so they diluted 70% basically of the company there, but you got 300 or 400% growth. Is that a good deal? I think it is. But we'll see. Okay. What else do we have here? Okay, talked about that. Let's see. Roberto says, I'm out of the miners play. They may still make big bucks, but they're being suppressed by many factors. I'm going to ride my ISO 22 tokens the rest of the way. Good luck to all of you. Stay with the miners. Oh, well, thank you and good luck to you. Everybody has to do what they believe is best. Let's see. Bit says, so far 25 states lined up. Yeah, almost half the country is, getting and working on Bitcoin reserves. Let's see. Mortem says, I don't think we should depend on Bitcoin reserves. That is an iffy thing. It is an iffy thing, right? It doesn't mean that they're going to get passed, but we do have things that are in motion, in progress to get there. So what if you only get half of those states that actually do it, right? That still would be huge. Let's see here. Seb, I just joined in. Where you been, bud? Got worried. Oh, thanks. Been sick the last couple of days. Ever since Thursday. If you remember Thursday, I said I was starting to get sick already, and then it just went downhill after that. I didn't want to do crap. I had a fever, runny nose, sinus. It was not good. Finally started to get my energy back today, which is good. I'm happy to be back. Okay, question, why is BTC going down when states are buying and holding BTC reserves? Cannot break 100 so far. It's being suppressed. That's the only reason I can think of. It's being suppressed so that people can buy more of it before it really does start to run up, right? If you know things are going to go up, you kind of want to keep them down as much as you can, buy them at a much lower price, and then let the thing run and you make a lot of money at it. What top 3 BTC miner stocks to jump into? I would say, there's quite a few of them. I wouldn't say just top 3, but I would say like Cleanspark, IREN. I would put Mara in there as well. Bitfarms towards maybe the end here a little bit. Hive, Riot, and then you got some HPCI plays like Cypher, TeraWolf as well. There's quite a few, just depending on what you want to get into. Let's see. Does the fact that Cleanspark is right after earnings worry you with all the expected big runs on these earnings? No, it doesn't worry me. It just gives me more confidence that they're being held down artificially than they would be otherwise, because it doesn't make any sense, right? Nice earnings, everything else, and you're down. Why? Well, okay, Bitcoin's kind of flat more or less, trading sideways. Okay, I could see maybe that's the reason for it, but even at that point, you're generating more revenue anyways. To me, it doesn't make any sense. Let's see. Tom Lee from Fundstrat says BTC will reach 250,000 by year end. He had also predicted BTC will hit 120,000 in 2024, which did not come true, but we came close, right? We got close. We got to 103,000 in 2024. Right? It was off by 17,000. That's not bad. Where it was. Let's see. Question. James from AI says you should what? Not sure what he should. Should only have 5% allocation in BTC miners for your portfolio. Now, how do you feel about this? That's a personal. It's up to everybody else, individual, to decide what they want to do with it, right? I could agree with him on the 5%, maybe 10% on that, because they are just so volatile and risky. But sometimes you got to go all in, or if you want to make a substantial change in your life, you sometimes have to go a little bit, more in. If somebody that already has a nice portfolio is, valued at over a couple $1 million, whatever, more than that, then yeah, you can go in 5%, 10%, something like that. So it's definitely based on an individual basis. How does IRENs have more sats per share than Cleanspark when Cleanspark mines more BTC than IREN? Thanks. IREN has less shares. At least they had less shares than Cleanspark did. IREN has, as of last report, now this might change when they report tomorrow. That's why I'm saying it might change. But when we look at, let's see, IREN here, let's pull it up. IREN, as of last report, had approximately, depending on how much they pulled on the ATM there, they had 198 million shares as of Q1 2025, which would have been for the Q3 for us, right? 198 million here. Cleanspark has, well, right now they have 280 million. So that's the reason why. More shares equals less sats per share, even though you mine more, right? So that's the way it works out. All right, hopefully that explains it. What else we got here? Okay. Isn't it hard to believe that BTC difficulty keeps going up while BTC price goes sideways? Most small scale miners are break even at best. Something has to give, higher BTC price or lower difficulty. Yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be higher BTC price. That's usually the typical trend that we see, is especially as network hash rate continues to go up. Eventually, Bitcoin price does follow afterwards. All right, here's one. Everyone is sad because they thought Trump would pump our bags. Do you still think he will live up to the crypto present? I think so. I mean, it doesn't have to be just on Trump alone. It's everything else that's happening across the country, across the world, whatever it might be. Adoption. We need adoption in Bitcoin. That's the only thing that's going to really run us up. Let's see. So I thought the idea of Bitcoin was to get away from government now, and now it seems we are craving for government. With SBR, I thought Bitcoin was more of a libertarian idea. It still is a libertarian idea. It's still, I can take, the $5 that I have in Bitcoin in my pocket, or somebody that has, $50 billion of Bitcoin in their pocket, and they can go anywhere they want in the world with it, right? And then you can just use that anywhere you want, more or less. So it still is. But the price appreciation is what happens through adoption. Adoption happens through institutions, then, now it looks like governments as well. But that's all adoption happening here. That's big cats getting into the game as well. They're going to make their money, and we're going to make the money as well because of it. All right, let's see here. Good chat tonight. Nice to have you back. Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good night. Let's see. Heinze here. Question, is there a possibility that we've passed the bull cycle for miners regardless of what the chart tells us? I don't think so. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think so. I mean, Bitcoin's still at 95,000. We're trading sideways right now, and that's maybe what it is. It's just an accumulation phase. Once we get past this accumulation phase, then we go back up. But it is frustrating. I completely agree with you guys 100% there. Let's see. So, good point. Trump has only been in the office for 3 weeks. People need to chill. Andre, you're very welcome as always. Yeah. Cynthia Loomis also tweeted, right, she's working on the strategic Bitcoin reserve there, Bill. So yeah, things are still progressing. We're still early on. I mean, we're expecting to be at 250,000 already. I think that's a little misguided. And we were hoping to be by 200,000 by the end of this year sometime. So we still have a ways to go, right? All we need to do is go up to 120,000, maybe this month would be nice if we can get there. Maybe go down to 115,000 the following month, then go back up to 125, 130,000 the following month, baby steps. So, yeah. Sorry, Melon, feel better, Seb. We need you healthy. I appreciate it. I'm working on it, feeling much better than what I was. Let's see, Seb, did you get influenza A like all the crap I've been seeing? Glad you're better. I think it was that, because it knocked me out I had a fever for basically 6 days until I started taking antibiotics, and I think also sinus infection was part of it. So, yeah, typically when I get sick, like with the flu or something like that, I'm usually out for 2-3 days max. And by the 3rd day, I'm feeling much better, and off we go. This has been, since it started Wednesday night last week, got bad Thursday, right? Got fever, everything else, but I still wasn't like beaten down. Still had some energy, that's why I did the show. And then Friday, just like I kicked in the gonads and felt like crap the rest of the couple days there. All right. Omar says, thanks, Seb. You're very welcome. Thank you for coming in, and we're going to call it a day. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow we got IREN to talk about. Anything else that happens as well, we'll cover it at that point, and we'll see where that leads us. But yeah, in the meantime, we're at the mercy of the big guys. So be patient out there. Don't let them squeeze you out of your positions. They want to buy much cheaper than what they could possibly buy it. So they're going to try and squeeze us out of our positions, try to make us defeat, But be patient. All right, that's all I got for you guys. Love you all. I'll see you guys tomorrow as well. Have a great night, and see you then.